Sweet Science Brothers, it's your boy Av, and I'm back with some more boxing. This is my official post-fight thoughts for the Triple G Danny Jacobs fight. First and foremost, this is the second video I'm doing about this. The first one I was gonna upload, but after seeing all the reactions that a lot of people are having and all the shit talk that's been going on, I decided not to upload that video. But just to give you guys a recap, I basically made a video where I was praising Daniel Jacobs for putting up a pretty good fight and making it competitive and going the distance, going 12 rounds. And I said that I underestimated Danny Jacobs, that he did a lot better than I thought he did, than I thought he would, and I was praising him for those things, and I still do. He did put up a good fight. He made it a little competitive, and he went 12 rounds. He's the first man on earth to go 12 rounds with the man known as Triple G. So I give him all the credit and respect for that. That being said, in the original video, I was more, I was talking about both guys, praising both guys, and, saying what both guys did wrong or what could have been done better. But I decided not to upload that video in light of all the nonsense that's been going on. People saying that, Danny Jacobs was robbed, that he won the fight, yada, 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 and all this nonsense. First and foremost, let's get this straight. Triple G beat Danny Jacobs clear as day. He was the ring general. I had the fight 8-4 Triple G with a knockdown, with a fucking knockdown. So that's not a close fight to me. It was a competitive fight. See, there's a difference between a close fight and a competitive fight. It was a competitive fight. It wasn't necessarily a close fight, but it was a competitive fight. Now, that being said, I do give Danny Jacobs the credit for surviving and putting up a good fight and being competitive. I give him the credit for that. He did fantastic in that department. But let's keep it 100%, shall we? Let's keep it 100%. Triple G was the ring general from round 1 to round 12. Every single round, he was the ring general. He never gave Danny Jacobs any fucking ground. He never gave any ground. Every single round, even when Danny Jacobs would hit him with something nice or throw a combination or do something and Triple G got hit with like a good shot, even in those instances, Triple G would take the shot and then just go right back to work, throwing the jab, controlling the ring, taking over the center, forcing Daniel Jacobs to just be on his bicycle from round 1 to round 12. That's what happened. Simple as that. There were only 3 consistent things in this fight. 3 consistent things that continue to play out in the entire fight from round 1 to round 12. And the first and foremost, the most consistent weapon of the match was Triple G's flawless jab. It was the only one of the only parts of my prediction that came to be true was the Triple G jab. It was a weapon that was used from beginning to end, and it dominated Danny Jacobs. That he couldn't defend himself against that jab. He would get hit with that jab even when he saw it coming, even when they were both standing in front of each other. Like, Triple G could just smash him in the face with the jab. There was nothing Danny could do about it. He couldn't parry it. He couldn't weave it. He couldn't get out of the way of it. It was just anytime Triple G wanted to hit him with a jab, he would hit him. It was like, boom. And it wasn't a regular jab, mind you. See, in boxing, every punch except a jab is a power punch. But Triple G is a unique animal, bro, because his jab is a fucking power punch. It does damage, and it busted up Daniel Jacobs' face and mouth. Big time. He had a lot of wear and tear on his face at the end of the fight, and that was due to Triple G's jab. Okay? And he also got knocked down in the 4th round. Big fucking knockdown. A lot of people were like, it was a slip. They were trying to say it was a slip. I was live at the event, so, people were saying, no, this is a slip, it wasn't a real knockdown. It was a fucking legitimate knockdown, and it was a painful knockdown because Daniel Jacobs got back up and kept, staying on his bicycle. And then in round 5, Daniel Jacobs took a savage beating. It was like he was still hurt from that knockdown. And Triple G really put it on him in round 5. You could have even given Triple G a 10-8 round for round 5, because he really threw a beating on Danny. It was it was just a continuation of round 4. Danny came out and was I don't know if he was still hurt or what the deal was, but Triple G gave him a nice beating in round 5, the round after the knockdown. Anyway, so to make a long story short, bro, Danny Jacobs, he put up a good fight. There's a couple of things that caught me off guard with Danny Jacobs, and I have to admit that. I didn't know Danny Jacobs had legs like that. I really didn't, and no one else did. I didn't know he had legs like that. Legs that can be, all 12 rounds on his bike. There was no time in the fight. This man was on his bike for all 12 rounds. There were a couple of times where he hit Triple G with a good shot, stood his ground for a few seconds, and then Triple G would just smash him in the head with a jab or two, and then he'd go right back on his bicycle. So, but he was on his bicycle from round 1 to round 12, and I was unaware that Danny Jacobs was capable of doing that, being on his bike. I mean, you got to think about it. This is Danny Jacobs, the same man who had a 12 knockout streak. You know what I'm saying? He's not known for being on his bicycle, and that's exactly what he was on. He was on his bicycle. He was fighting you could see that Danny Jacobs was implementing the Virgil Hunter game plan. You could see it. He was trying to do what Andre Ward did to Sergey Kovalev. He was on his bicycle the entire time, and the difference between what Andre Ward did against Kovalev and what Danny Jacobs did against Triple G, there's a few differences. Number one, Andre Ward has that thrusting jab, that very nice thrusting jab that he does to the body and to the head. That's a consistent measuring tool / point scoring weapon that Andre Ward utilizes while he's on his bicycle. That's the difference, because Daniel Jacobs, his jabs were garbage. He was popping jabs out here and there, but they were not connecting on Triple G. And man, let me tell you. So let me just finish this analysis. He didn't have the jab that Andre Ward has. So Andre Ward, when he's on his bicycle, he's still scoring points here and there. But this guy was on his bicycle, and he didn't have any effective weapon to continue scoring points. There was nothing consistent about this guy's offense. Only time Daniel Jacobs would throw punches was when he felt threatened by Triple. There were only 2 times where he threw punches. When he felt threatened by Triple G, when Triple G was going after him, hitting him, then he would throw some punches in retaliation. But you could see that the punches he would throw some hard and wild shots, and you could see that the objective of his punches were to get Triple G's respect and get Triple G off of him. The objective of those punches weren't to win the fight or to do damage. It was just he'd throw a wild uppercut and some haymaker body shots, but he would throw those punches as a way of just getting Triple G off of him and go right back into his bicycle. So that's why he keeps losing rounds. It's you land up a good punch here and there, but it's you're not the ring general. He's controlling you. You're hitting him in retaliation to his aggression. That's how I saw the fight, and that's how you should see the fight. Okay, because effective aggression and ring generalship are key here. All right. So anyway, what else? So he didn't have an effective weapon that he could score consistently with. So he's on his bicycle, and he's not really scoring any points, and he's sporadically throwing punches here and there, that are not so bad, but at the same time, they're not there's no objective to win or hurt the guy. It's more just throwing punches so that Triple G will stop, and then you can just get right back on your fucking bike. And that's what happened there. So that's basically how he fought the fight. It was kind of like just he tried to smother Triple G. He tried to clinch Triple G. He tried to smother Triple G. That shit did not work. What Daniel Jacobs found out, and I'm sure Virgil Hunter and all these the non-biased boxing analysts who know what the fuck they're looking at, you know what they saw? They saw that Triple G has an inside game. When you clinch Triple G, you're going to get caught. You're going to find an uppercut waiting for you. You're going to find a looping right hand that's going to hit you. And Triple G will never give you head control. Ever. Because that's the objective. When you smother people, it's like the person who has head control is the one who can throw sneaky shots and the one who can control when the clinch begins and when the clinch ends. And what we discovered is that you can't have no fucking head control against Triple G. So Danny Jacobs was ineffective in smothering Triple G and clinching him. He tried, but it didn't do shit. It didn't do shit. So that's what it was. Anyway, there were 3 consistencies in this fight, like I said before. The first one being Triple G's magnificent jab, which won him the fight. The second one was Triple G's uppercut, which was a consistent weapon. He was landing that uppercut in almost every round or every other round. He started landing that uppercut. He was doing it with the right hand primarily, but he also landed it with the left. So there was the Triple G uppercut, which was consistent. It was like he was throwing at least 2 or 3. He was landing 2 or 3 of those in every other round. Like whenever they would get on the inside or getting an exchange, Triple G was hitting this dude with this uppercut. It didn't knock him out or put him down, but one of those uppercuts stunned him badly. I don't know if it was the 11th or 10th round, but in one of the rounds, Triple G uppercutted him, and he was hurt bad. Like, he just backed up into the ropes, and Triple G was fatigued, so he couldn't really capitalize on Danny at that particular moment. So, the jab, Triple G's uppercut, and finally, Triple G's footwork, his ring generalship, he never gave ground. He controlled the center of the ring for all 12 rounds. Even when Danny Jacobs landed his best punch of the fight, there was a 2-piece combination that Danny landed. And all of these sour grape motherfuckers on these boxing forums, they keep on like posting an edited clip of him landing those 2 shots. It's basically, I can't remember if it was round 10 or 11, but it's basically a 2-punch, a left and a right hook, or a right and a left. But I'm sure many of you have seen it. So he lands it. It was the 2 best punches of the entire fight, and after landing it, Danny Jacobs is like, come on. He has this like bravado moment where he's like, come on, right? And that's where the edit stops, right? So everyone's showing this edited little 5-second clip of Danny landing his 2 best punches, right? But it's an edited clip, so it looks nice. But what actually happened in the fight? I'll tell you what happened. So Danny Jacobs gave Triple G his 2 best punches. Triple G ate them right on the chin, and then Triple G just looked at him and, just smashed him in the head with a fucking jab and backed him up and then jabbed him again and just like carried on controlling the fucking round the way he did every other round. Like, yeah, you landed something nice, but Triple G just went back to controlling the fucking round like he was in every fucking fight. So in every round, he was just controlling the round. I gave Danny Jacobs 4 rounds, and I was being generous. And let me tell you guys something else, right? I was there live at the event with my brother, and we didn't have the best seats. We were in the back, but I didn't give a shit. Triple G's one of the greatest middleweights that ever lived. He's in the top 5 best that ever did it, in my opinion. And I wanted to be part of that history. I wanted to say, like, I saw Triple G fight. So I went there, and tickets were expensive. I had nosebleed seats for like $110. you know, but I went there with my bro. I had a good time. But let me tell you, when we were at the stadium, there were so many of Danny's punches that were being blocked. Clearly blocked, or hitting Triple G on the shoulder or on the glove, being blocked. But at the stadium, it was making those thudding sounds, and the crowd was just, ooh, ah, and these people were getting all crazy about these punches that were being fucking blocked. And, you know, it is what it is, man. When I came home and I watched the fight again, I watched the fight, and I scored it 9-3 after watching it a second time, because a lot of that shit that was like I thought was landing was being fucking blocked lovely. Another thing that was very consistent in this fight, both of these guys had good defense, right? But Triple G had much better defense, because Danny Jacobs was on his bike, jumping around, moving his head. You know, it was the type of defense that, like, please don't knock me out defense. You know what I mean? Whereas Triple G's defense was, I'm standing in front of you in your fucking line of fire, and I'm blocking your shit, weaving your shit, sidestepping your shit, and hitting you with some offense, or trying to, as best as I can. That is a much higher level of defense, in my opinion. When you're able to press forward, you know, and you're trying to win, and at the same time you're protecting yourself. That's true defense, you know what I mean? Not like when you're just running around trying not to get hurt. Which is Danny Jacobs' biggest achievement in this fight, is that he didn't get knocked out. You know, it's like a moral victory. And, you know, it is what it is. I had made an original video praising Danny, but, you know, in hindsight, bro, and especially the way everyone's reacting, no, there's nothing to praise. You got your fucking ass whooped. And if you threw, and let me tell you something, if you threw your fucking hands a little more and tried to win triples, you would have slept your ass. It's simple. Really. In retrospect, you would have got your shit slept. You know, I didn't know Danny Jacobs. I'm gonna give Danny Jacobs respect. I didn't know he had those type of legs. I didn't know he had that type of conditioning, and he did put a hell of a fight. I don't want to shit on Danny, because there's nothing to shit on. The guy's great. It's just that he clearly lost the fight. He fought extremely safe. He didn't throw his hands. He didn't take much chances at all in this fight. At all. And so he lost the fight. And I thought the scorecards were way too close, especially the 114-113. Like, that means you gave Danny Jacobs, that judge gave Danny Jacobs 6 rounds and deducted a point for the knockdown, and Triple G won because of that. That's what that scorecard means. There's no fucking way he won 6 rounds. There's no way. Like, what are you seeing? How'd you give him 6 rounds? I could see you giving him 5. I could see somebody giving the scorecard being 7-5. I don't agree with 7-5, but I could see 7-5. But 6 rounds? 6? Where? How'd that happen? How did you give this dude 6 rounds? What is your scoring criteria? Whatever. It is what it is. Danny Jacobs put a hell of a fight. And I want to leave you guys with one more thing, because I'm trying to be quick with this video. No, 2 more things. Triple G made some big mistakes. But the one mistake I want to talk about is the fact that he threw absolutely no fucking body punches for the entire fight. I don't fucking know why he didn't do it. It doesn't make any sense to me. I've sat down and spoke to my brother about it. I spoke to some people from Ring IQ about it. I don't understand why this dude didn't throw body punches. There were some theories being thrown out like, oh, well, he was respecting Danny Jacobs' power. That's why he didn't throw body punches. That's complete bullshit. That's complete bullshit, because Triple G stayed in Danny Jacobs' line of fire from round 1 to round 12, pressing forward, pushing forward, trying to get the win. He was in Danny Jacobs' punching range. So saying that he didn't go to the body because he didn't want to get hit is out of the question. Completely out of the question. He was moving forward, and he was in, like, if Danny Jacobs wanted to brawl and go for the knockout, Triple G was like, please, I'm right here, go for it, you know? So that's not what happened. So I don't know, maybe you guys can tell me, The only conclusion I could come to as to why Triple G threw absolutely no body punches whatsoever, the only conclusion I could come to, and it's not a good one, the one conclusion is that Triple G was he got caught up headhunting, which is a very, very amateur mistake. But it's the only thing that makes sense to me. He got caught up headhunting the entire fight, and he let, that whole knockout streak, it got too much into his head where he thought he could just knock Danny Jacobs out with one punch. And that's the only thing that makes sense to me, is that he arrogantly thought that he could just aim for the head and eventually put him away without the help of body shots. If you guys have a better theory of why he didn't go to the body, please let me know what you think. But the man threw no body punches. And let me tell you something. If he threw the body punches that he normally throws, he would have knocked Danny Jacobs the fuck out. He would have knocked him out. He would have fucking stopped him. 100%. But he didn't throw none. I mean, in this whole fight, he probably only threw 5 or 6 body shots in 12 rounds. And they weren't his usual body shots. They were like these... He was throwing these like straight rights to the body in the first few rounds, and he stopped doing it after. That was it though. He really didn't throw any body punches at all. Maybe here and there he threw one that I didn't catch, but it wasn't that consistent body punching that Triple G is known for. So he didn't have a good performance, Triple G. He really didn't. He also got fatigued in the mid rounds, which were the rounds... The late mid rounds were the rounds I gave Danny. I can't remember the exact rounds, but I think I gave him round 7 maybe, 9, maybe 9 and 10. I can't remember, but I gave him 3 rounds somewhere in the second half of the fight, and Triple G was he took his foot off the gas and just kind of gave those rounds up a little bit. So. Anyway, that's my thoughts on the fight, okay? Oh, and the final thing I want to leave you guys with is this talk of Danny Jacobs having a rematch, getting a rematch. And I want to remind some of you guys of something, okay? Me, I'm a boxing fan first and foremost, so I would love to have that rematch. It's no problem. But on the other hand, one of the main sticking points of this fight in the negotiations... One of the main sticking points was Danny Jacobs and Al Heyman and his team did not want to sign a contract that had a rematch clause at all. They wanted a winner-take-all, no rematch fight. That's what had happened. You can do your research, look at the articles. There were articles written about it. Winner-take-all, no rematch clause. They did not want to give Triple G a rematch clause. So you mean to tell me that you would not agree to giving Triple G a rematch had you won, but now you want to ask Triple G for a rematch? Absolutely fucking not. I mean, I want the rematch because I know Triple G could sleep this dude, but at the same time, when you didn't want to give this dude a rematch clause and he had all his belts on the line and you were just a fucking Mando, and on top of everything else now you want a rematch now? No, I wouldn't give him a rematch. Fuck him. I'd make that motherfucker wait 2 years. That's what I would do. And that's what Triple G and his team should do. There's no money behind this guy's name anyway. And and on top of everything else, he fought in a really safe way. Ended Triple G's knockout streak without even trying to really win the fight. Just trying to survive. What's the point of that, It is what it is. I want the fight, though. I do want the fight. But he should make this motherfucker wait for it. Make him earn it. I want the Billy Joe Saunders fight next. That's the #1 fight for Triple G, is the Billy Joe Saunders fight. I want that fight more than the Canelo fight. I want these titles undisputed. One fucking champion. That's it. One fucking champion. And there's a lot to say about this fight too, like the fact that Danny Jacobs didn't make his second IBF weight. Everybody, all of these cocksuckers are glossing over that shit oh, it's not a big deal, he made weight, who cares about the IBF belt, blah, 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 blah. It's not cheating. Yes, it is fucking cheating. If you didn't want to make that second weight, You should have said, I'm not fighting for the IBF title. I'm not making that weight. So Triple G could eat whatever he wants and not worry about the next day a second weigh-in. But no, you didn't say that. You just skipped out on it. So Triple G had to weigh in the next morning. He had to be careful about what he ate and how much he ate the night before. You know what I'm saying? Now, Triple G doesn't rehydrate more than he does normally anyway. But my point is that it was cheating. Because one man knew that he had to weigh in the next day, so he made sure not to eat or drink too much. Whereas the other guy gained almost 25 pounds overnight. Because Danny Jacobs was massive. He was like 188 pounds or something. He was huge. Absolutely huge. And these boxing commissions need to... They need to make fight night weigh-ins mandatory. I want to know what these guys weigh. I'm tired of this shit. Anyway, it's your boy Yav. Sweet Science Brothers. You know, let me know what you think. What Triple G... What you thought of his performance and what you thought about Danny's. I thought both guys performed very well. It was a hell of a fight. I enjoyed the fight. Triple G didn't perform the way I want him to. But he got the W. Peace.